While many people who listen to this podcast call Newberg their home, there are a lot of people who come here to visit this community. Whether it's the wineries, the beautiful scenery, the local events, or the Allison Inn and Spa, Newberg is a growing hotspot for tourists. In today's episode, I'm interviewing Leigh Jensen, Executive Director of Taste Newberg, which is Newberg's destination marketing organization. And we're going to learn more about what makes Newberg such a great spot to visit. We'll learn about the role of Taste Newberg, how it benefits the community, and how it coordinates with Newberg's other organizations. We'll also discuss the role of short-term rentals and other lodging options, such as the incoming Fairfield Marriott Hotel, when it comes to providing hospitality to a wide range of visitors. Hi, I'm Daniel Roberts, host of the Giving Town podcast, where we share stories of hope and generosity in Newberg and the surrounding areas. We live in an amazing community full of incredible people who are all working to make Newberg an even better place to live. This podcast is all about sharing those stories and helping the people in our town to be inspired, get involved, and have hope for our future. This podcast is also brought to you by my real estate team, the Joyful Roberts Group, and it's part of our mission to serve this community not only by providing amazing service to our clients, but also to help Newberg be an even better place to live. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home anywhere around Newberg, reach out to us. We'd be happy to serve you. Well, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy this episode of the Giving Town podcast with Leigh Jensen. Leigh, thank you so much for joining me today. It's great to have you on the Giving Town podcast.
It's wonderful to be here.
You know, I think it's been, I don't remember I think it was right when you got the job. I was like, hey, if you ever want to come on, it'd be great to talk.
I've been a little busy.
A little bit, but I'm glad to finally have you here. You're the last leg of the stable table, and we'll talk about what that is. But so far we've had everyone else, and it feels like we're completing this circle here. So I look forward to talking to you. So you're the executive director of Taste Newberg. And for many people, a lot of people aren't familiar with what it is, how it works, how it benefits Newberg. They've heard the name, but maybe just don't know the significance of it. So can you, for people who aren't familiar with Taste Newberg, just give an overview?
So Taste Newberg is the local destination marketing organization. So what we do is we market Newberg to people to come and visit. And when we say people come and visit, that's over 50 miles is what we're looking for. That's what we call a tourist. So if you're over 50 miles or you stay the night, then you're a tourist. And the benefit of that is they come and stay in one of our lodging facilities. They pay transient lodging tax, and 65% of that goes to the city general budget. So it's economic development. So it helps all those things that you want to have happen. And then 35% comes back to me or Taste Newberg.
Yeah, just to you.
Just me. And then we market more so that we get more people to come and stay. And our goal is really what we call the shoulder season, because most people are going to come during spring and summer. I mean, we do a little bit of that, but what we're really focusing is to try to get people here in fall and winter.
And is a lot of that surrounding the wine industry for people coming here?
I would say that, for the main thing is we are Oregon wine country, right? I mean, in Newberg alone, in our general vicinity, we have over 200 wineries. Then you can add on, depending upon how far you want to drive. And in the Willamette Valley, there's close to 700. So that's a lot, right? That's probably a big hook of how we get people to come stay. But we want them also to experience more. So we want them to also go to a winery, then come to our downtown and have one of our amazing dinners at one of our amazing restaurants. Or go for a hike someplace. Go to Shampooey and spend the day, and then go shopping in our downtown. So we want a little bit of everything because we want them to spend their money in our town because that helps us.
So is that within the city limits, or what's the jurisdiction of Newberg?
I just have, Taste Newberg, we only collect TLT, the city does, within the city limits.
Okay.
We don't. And then, Visit McMinnville's the same thing. They only collect within their McMinnville city limits. And then, we're the only two official destination marketing organizations in Yamhill County.
Interesting. So if someone is outside city limits, are they then not subjected to the TLT?
They're not, they are paying some little portions, like they pay the travel Oregon because that's a statewide assessment. But no, they do not pay. Yamhill County is one of the few counties in Oregon that does not have a county assessment. So we are very much leaving a lot of money on the table that could come back to our county and help our economy.
Interesting. Which I'm sure that's kind of a double-edged sword. Property owners, of course, don't want to be taxed. But then when you think of the benefit to the city and the organizations, it's...
With the property owners not being taxed, the visitors being taxed. So the only person who's being taxed is when the person comes to stay, they are assessed a assessment on their lodging. So when you pay $200 a night, then you pay an extra $30, and that's the money that comes in. So it doesn't, none of your property owners pay it. And it is, it's kind of a tax, but I like to say more that it's an assessment.
Okay.
So it's a way for those people that are coming to visit us to pay an assessment to help us maintain our roads, our schools, and our other things. So that's the way I like to present it.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of people get up in arms about any type of assessment or tax. And on one side of the mouth, they say they don't want to have to pay the city anything. And why are they putting, with the street lights, which I know has a lot of mixed feelings with the new traffic cameras and stuff going in. And at the same time, people complain that there's not enough money for roads and the water facility, which is, I know it's separate slightly from the public works in the city. But it is interesting how when you look at the big picture, it all kind of has to work together. And if you don't have anything going to the city, you're not going to have any infrastructure. So how did Taste Newberg get started? I mean, the whole idea of a destination marketing organization, when did that, obviously it's not unique to this area. So
I came in after it had started. So I can do a brief little story. It originally the transient lodging tax was collected and that money was gone to the chamber. Then members of the chamber felt like it should be two separate organizations, the chamber doing B2B business, and then Taste Newberg being a destination marketing organization. Actually originally started as Visit Newberg, and we are technically corporately Visit Newberg. And so they pulled that money aside. They started it with grants, and then they slowly began an actual organization. We are a 501c6, a nonprofit. And that started in 2019. And then your first executive director was Leslie Caldwell. And then she retired, and I started the position in July of 2022. Okay.
So you mentioned the official name is Visit Newberg, but Taste Newberg obviously operates under Taste Newberg. So where did that difference in the name come from?
So that's all about branding. They did, prior to myself, they did a whole branding exercise. And they went out and came up with names and so forth. And the board of directors at that time decided on Taste Newberg. And the concept behind it is that when you come to this area, we want you to taste it. We want you to taste the wine, the food, everything, that there's something going on and it's here and it's for your senses and it's something that you should enjoy.
Okay. So it's kind of taste as in an experience and an artistic taste.
Yes.
Okay.
But it does get confusing because people think I'm a food event.
That is one thing I have heard. Oh yeah, I've heard of Taste Newberg. Aren't they a food event? And then so one of the things that I wanted to talk about too in the podcast is it's actually very different. It's not at all a food event, even though you may market food events. Mm-hmm. And I understand the trouble with branding because I have my real estate business, this podcast, and my own YouTube channel, which is Living in Newberg, which is kind of I've thought a little bit about the difference. So Living in Newberg is for people moving to Newberg. So I'm trying to get people to come and stay, and you're trying to get people to come and leave. But there's the whole point is getting people to come here, which is highlighting what are the benefits of the area. And many times it starts with visiting, and then people may say, hey, I want to stay here. So we can talk about how we can help each other, because I actually point out a lot of Taste Newberg stuff on my channel.
Yeah, it's a big, really the difference would be a campaign. So Taste Newberg is really more of a campaign. It's an advertisement marketing campaign. It's the way we market ourselves so that we get people interested in coming and experiencing all the things we have. As a destination marketing organization, Visit Newberg is more kind of tells you what we do. We get you to visit.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon and you've probably experienced it and you didn't realize for areas to have taglines or thing that they call themselves. A lot of places call themselves explore, discover, all of those. Those are all just kind of the same thing. They're sort of marketing campaigns of ways to tell you to do stuff. Our particular one before I came, decided that taste was the way they wanted to go. Yeah. And I think that's because we do lean in so much to the Oregon wine country.
Okay. As far as your experience coming from, because you came from California wine country, right?
Oh, don't tell anybody that.
Oh, oops. But that gives a very different perspective to where you can see this from an outside angle, where many like us locals, I'm not local either. I was born in Missouri and grew up hours away from here. But I've come to call it home. And I think that's what a lot of people experience is you come here and you come to call it home. But what are the things that you've noticed about Newberg that really make it stand out that someone who's lived here a long time may not recognize?
Coming from another wine country, I actually was down there when it was a baby wine country too, and then it grew. First it's hospitality. You know what I mean? People want to experience people that are nice and friendly. So, and I think we take advantage of walking into a coffee shop, walking into Chapters or Caravan, and we see somebody we know, and that people love that, especially if you come from a big city, like that experience where you are connected. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a huge thing for Newberg. Also just the ability to have the fresh produce and the things that we have here. And the beauty, just go outside your house. Like if you're listening to this right now, your car, your house, go outside and look around. It's beautiful here. And we forget that. I even, after only being here a year and a half, I have to walk out and go, look at this. This is gorgeous. We live in one of the most beautiful places. So we only want them to come visit and don't stay. I'm just teasing. But that's, the friendliness, the things that we have to offer, the hometown feel, the fact that you can walk around downtown and you can walk. You don't have to have a car. You can start from one side and walk to the other side and shop and enjoy. And, a lot of local owned businesses. Those are beautiful things that don't always happen in all the other communities.
It's interesting you mentioned the natural beauty, because it's one of the things. I grew up in the Gorge, in driving from the Dalles to Portland. The Columbia River Gorge is, I think, one of the most beautiful places in the world, because I'm not seeing it all the time. So whenever I drive through on rare occasion, I now think, wow, this is actually really incredible. And I've only been abroad internationally a couple times to Ireland and Italy, and I found that there's actually a lot of interesting similarities. Like in Ireland, I looked around and it says, it feels like I'm driving to the Oregon coast. I think we maybe underestimate the beauty that there is here, which brings me to the next question of people who do come and visit, who they don't know necessarily the small town feel. What do you feel of people? They got so many options if they're traveling from other areas, so many places that they could go. What do you think brings them here?
I think the first thing is the wine, probably. And also we have the Allison. That is quite the gem for Oregon. Not just the Willamette Valley and not just for Newberg, but Oregon doesn't have a lot of 5-star resorts. So that's a pretty amazing place. And where it's located in wine country is a gem. So it's a destination amongst itself. Yeah. Then we have world-class wineries right here. We have people that, they compete with people in Europe, in other parts of the world with the wine that comes out of Willamette Valley. So that's pretty amazing. I also think they come a lot for the outdoors. I mean, it's beautiful. People that like to hike, you can go to the Willamette River and go kayaking, and you can go on a hike. I mean, it's just a great place. You can do so many different things. I mean, I always like to say, I want people to come stay here and go there. So come stay here. And I'm totally good with you driving up to Portland for the day, but I want you to stay here. I'm okay with you driving to the Gorge for the day, but stay here.
How does that affect short-term vacation rentals? I know that's been a big topic of discussion because those are all a part of the assessment, right? With
they are the STRs. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so from a Taste Newberg and DMO or Destination Marketing Organization perspective, they're a really good thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm curious how that plays in, or what your thoughts are. Obviously, again, property owners, they want their rights, and then it also makes housing tricky for people who need somewhere to stay long term. Do you have a perspective on?
There's actually a study that shows that it actually doesn't affect housing because it's such a small number. And in Newberg, it is only about 60 or 70. So it is a very small percentage of our housing here. So it's not, and most of the houses that are given up for STRs are usually bigger houses that most people, if they're looking they're having a problem with unhoused, they can't afford. So those things all come into part. But for us as a DMO, it's a different kind of customer. It's a different type of lodging. We all travel differently. Mm-hmm. When I'm by myself, I'm going to stay in a hotel, right? That in a hotel by myself, I can go down and get, that's what I'm going to do. If I'm traveling with the gang, the whole family, I'm going to rent a house because that works out better. Maybe I'm traveling with my husband. Then I'm probably going to maybe go to a resort like the Allison for the spa. It's just different kinds of consumers. And that's actually really important that we get different kinds of consumers, because then we are getting different kind of consumers that are going to different types of restaurants in our location. They're shopping at different places in our location. All of that brings that economics into our area.
And that's a really good perspective too. And I think a good point that some people without context, and I find myself saying a lot that life is about nuance. It's not one side or the other. And if you listen closely, you can understand that there's always multiple angles. But it's an interesting point that not everyone who comes here wants to stay at the Allison or the Travel Lodge or a short-term rental. It's all the wider variety allows more types of people to be able to come, which brings me up to one of the thoughts I was thinking of earlier, the new Marriott that's coming in, the Fairfield. How is that going to affect the playing field, if you will, because it's kind of a missing segment, like kind of that mid-tier, at least in my mind, kind of that mid-tier hotel.
Yeah, it's still limited service, but yeah, it's a little higher end limited service.
Okay. And what does that mean, limited service?
So the Allison is a resort. They have dining, a spa, a gym. So you have all the services in one location.
Okay.
A Fairfield, they have limited service. They may have a couple of conference rooms, but they're not going to be able to house a 200-person conference. They're not going to have a spa. So it's limited service. So it's kind of like you go from 5-star resort that has everything to, and again, different travelers. You're going to have people that are going to come from weddings, and some of the party's going to stay at the Allison. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe some of the vendors or some of the other family that can't afford it are going to stay at the Fairfield. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's just different. And honestly, I know it's we don't have enough lodging for what we need if we really want to affect and help wineries and businesses in the area. We actually need more lodging. We don't have a lot. And honestly, if that's what we need. So more hotels is good. Yeah. Not over. I don't want everybody to come, everybody.
Well, and I guess that's my perspective. Obviously my perspective is realist. Really my perspective is I want to help the ultimate like the bottom line, I want to help Newberg become the best place that it can, which is why I do this podcast. But I've seen when people come visit, their options have always been really limited. A lot of people can't afford or maybe don't want to stay at the Allison, but maybe they want something a little nicer than the other options available. And I think, in my mind, I think that Fairfield is a really good option because it's going to allow people to come in who don't want to be at the absolute top notch, paying $500 a night, or $600, whatever it might be. They just want a nice, decent place. So I've seen people kind of complaining about that, but again, that's kind of the nuance. That people say, oh, we don't need more people clogging up our roads. It's like, well, I think there's really a need for something like that. And I think it's ultimately going to be a major benefit to Newberg. So can you speak at all to the benefit that's going to have?
Well, I mean, just in transient lodging tax alone. So they're going to have, they're going to bring in more revenue. 65% of that transient lodging tax that's collected is going to go into your general coffers at the city. So that's going to pay for more services, more roads, whatever you need. So and then recently with a lot of the changes the cities have made with system development charges, that's very pro-business, which is what we need. We need to be able to expand and have people come. We also need it in a way where people can have a living wage job throughout the year. So if you're focused on just having people come during the summer, what is that restaurant owner doing during the winter?
Yeah.
They need more lodging. They need people coming so that they can run their business. Because yes, I love the locals to go, but they also need visitors to come so that they can give back into the economy. You're just bringing money into your area, which is a good thing. And no, we don't want to do over-tourism. And yes, you'll see over-tourism in different places. That's not our goal. That's not my goal. My goal is just to have a steady amount of visitors during all seasons so that our businesses are thriving and people have living wages and people live and work and have fun in our community. The benefits that tourism brings are often we can bring opportunities that actually enhance the residents' life as much as they enhance tourism. If there's tourism here, you might get a bigger, better park. You might get a lot of different things because visitors are coming and helping to pay for that, and it actually helps the residents.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the nuance and the perspective, I guess context is another word, that is beneficial, is we don't live in a vacuum and there's no hotel that's in a vacuum. If someone's staying there, they're going to be shopping locally and they're going to be going to restaurants. And I think it's something that we should welcome. Now, if there are people who want Newberg to stay the small town that it was in 1960, which I think we're a long way away from that anyway, Newberg is changing, and that's just kind of the way it is. So if it's changing, we might as well have it change for the better is my thought.
We might as well get the benefits of it.
Yeah.
You can either let it happen or you can control and be a part of what happens.
One of the other things we mentioned is the stable table, which I mentioned. So if I remember right, stable table is City of Newberg, Taste Newberg, Chamber of Commerce, and the Downtown Coalition. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So how do the four of those work together now that you're the last one who's finally come on from your perspective? You know what?
It's really a great relationship because we all have different areas of expertise. The city is running the city and making that happen. The chamber is business to business, so they are helping businesses. And then the Downtown Coalition is focused on the downtown corridor and helping those businesses thrive, getting an art community, getting walkable downtown. And what I do is I bring the people in, I market the area to help all of them succeed. So by bringing people here, I'm helping the chamber with their businesses to become more successful and have people that are shopping and doing all of that. Recently, I partnered with the Downtown Coalition on the truffle market. We reincited our own truffle market, and it was a huge success. We also I brought in a conference at the Allison, which was destination marketing organizations from all over Oregon came to visit. And that benefits us because the more people that know what's here, they will send people here. I send people to other places.
Yeah.
Hey, now that you've experienced this, you need to go to the coast. The coast might say, hey, now that you've done this, you need to go to wine country. Yeah. We all work together.
It's kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm just a nerd, but it's always exciting to be learning about how other industries coordinate together and work together, because it really is its own, it's kind of its own, it's its own industry. I guess that's what it is.
Well, come and stay in Oregon for a week or two. Sure, it'd be great if you stayed here the whole time. But honestly, if you just stay here and visit wine country and then go to the coast or whatever, you are giving into the economy of Oregon. You are helping.
Yeah.
You are helping everybody.
One of the thoughts I had, and I guess there is kind of a line between what the Downtown Coalition does and what Taste Newberg does. Really, you're focused on, okay, if people are visiting, does it help Taste Newberg if there's more events? So people see, hey, there's all these events happening. So if I stay there, then I'll have something else to do? Or do people coming to visit not pay as much attention?
You know what? It's a little bit of both. I mean, people want to come to towns that have fun things going on. So like during the summer, we'll have Tunes on Tuesday that we all partner with to put together. And that during that same period of time, the Allison has music on Monday. We have music on Tuesdays. We have the Wednesday market on Wednesday. So it's like a visitor is going to come and go, oh, these are great little community events I can go and be a part of and go out to dinner. So those are really good. Some people will travel for events. Some people will travel because they're traveling and then they see what's happening when they get there.
Okay.
It's kind of a catch, it kind of depends upon who it is, and what they're doing. I mean, I think events are important, but I think it's a big thing is often we do fine on the weekends. I mean, we want more people to come, but really we also want that business or that leisure travel that's going to be able to travel during the week. Like if somebody can come from a Sunday to a Thursday, that's when occupancy is usually down. So we really want, that's a big demographic that we like, people that maybe they can travel and they can work anywhere. And so they'll come stay here for a month. We love that. Yeah. Wonderful. Great. Let's do it. It's a benefit for me, the Downtown Coalition. A lot of what they do that really helps and why it works well is they have their art, all the art that they're putting out. That's a beautiful thing for me to tell visitors, hey, come walk along our downtown and go see all the original art that we have. Come to this amazing cultural center that most communities our size don't have, and don't have this amazing theater that's being built. Come and to this wonderful library that's right in the middle and see how important libraries are in Oregon. There's just so many things. And I can't clone myself. I do have a staff member now, which is a beautiful thing, but I can only do so much. So we all need to do a little piece of it. And then we are a beautiful puzzle together. We are all part of the same picture.
Is a lot of what you do putting on events or just advertising events that
I advertise events. I do help. I'll help. But I don't have the bandwidth as one person. Well, now 2 people. So because a lot of what I do is not necessarily here in Newberg. Like I connect here in Newberg, but a big part of my job is to connect with the Willamette Valley Visitors Association, which is the regional tourism organization that I'm on the board with. I'm also on the board of a organization that does the wine country license plate. If you drive around with one of those wine country license plate, part of that money goes into tourism and wine and food marketing. I'm on that. I'm also involved with Travel Oregon because I want Travel Oregon to know how important we are here. So they'll bring their resources here. They'll advertise for us here. So a lot of what I do, Orla, with this Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association, making sure that they know who we are so that our restaurants and our lodging partners are getting representation, whether it be in government or whatever they need help for. So a lot of what I do is actually outside the community.
Okay.
I mean, I do things here, but I'm sort of your own personal advertisement bulletin everywhere I go.
Gotcha. So your main thing is basically just having a big advertisement for Newberg and how great it is having people come here.
I want everybody to know that it's amazing, and if you haven't experienced it, come experience it. Or here's why, or we are, or ask me questions. I do have a new employee, and one of the reasons why we have brought her on is destination development and experiences. People will come and stay longer if they know there's more things to do. So helping our community kind of see what those are and grow in those experiences is the kind of one of the next steps to what we do.
Now, do you guys offer like educational opportunities and things like that?
We haven't really. It's not something that we've done yet. I mean, I think that there's conferences that you can go to. I think mostly probably the way I educate is more on a one-to-one basis. If a business is wants to know, how do I connect with Travel Oregon?
Yeah.
How do I get on your website? How do I become a part of this group or that group, or getting people to understand all the different groups that you have to be a part of? If you're a winery, you need to be in your ABA and on with the Oregon board, and it just goes on. Yeah. So I think that my education is more of a one-on-one. I'm always happy if somebody emails me and asks me, I'm like, here, let me connect you to the person that I'm a connector.
Yeah.
Here's who you really need to talk to.
That makes sense. I was curious because on the website, there was something about the University of the Senses. And I was curious, is Newberg the University of the Senses, or is that something different you offer?
No, that was part of the branding that they did. And part of that was leaning into the fact that we have George Fox here, which is the largest private university here in Oregon. And they play a pivotal role. I mean, we do get visitors, we get parents and family that come. Yeah. When there's graduations, when there's events, when all of that, you get people that come to the area and live because they're getting their graduate degree or whatever. So it's an important pillar in our community.
Okay. Do you find that do you ever have maybe visitors who they're looking for maybe a place to stay and they find Taste Newberg and they'll come and ask questions like, hey, where should I stay? And how much of that do you get?
You know what? We don't get a ton of it because there's a lot of resources. We're actually in the middle of doing some website rebranding where on the side, we will be in about 6 months, probably pushing out a little bit of a updated website, but we're working on that right now so that people find it easier. And we've got more information that we need to have out there. Most of our information is on the website. I do get emails. People do email and ask me this or that. But I think most people nowadays are pretty used to getting most of that information off a website. Yeah. They don't call as much as they used to.
Yeah, that's true.
And they go to our visitor center. The chamber runs our visitor center. So if there's certain questions, Meryl or Scott are answering those because I do travel a lot because of all the connecting I do. And so they're answering those, and then they are welcoming people into their visitor center, which is a great thing.
Yeah. What are some highlights coming up this summer that you're working on promoting?
You know what? Mainly right now, we're working on all of the music and different events that are happening. Like I said, the Allison has their free music on Mondays. We have Tunes on Tuesday coming up. We have the Wednesday markets starting. And, I don't advertise for them, but, Dundee has some stuff. You can walk over there. They've got some music events and art events also. So we're really focusing on, and part of that focus on is we'd like people to come and get out of their car and walk around town. So we really want to promote more, experiences where people are walking around. They're doing all that stuff. Any of the events that are happening at the cultural center. So we really lean into more of those things during the summer. Come, go to the Willamette, go down to Rogers Landing, stick your feet in the water.
I'm excited for whenever the Riverfront Master Plan happens. I know it's been talked about for a long time.
Will I be retired by then?
Yeah. Oh, I hope not. But having River Street being walkable would be really nice if it was more developed down there. We had some service groups come and clean up Rogers Landing a little bit in the fall.
Yeah.
And Rotary. I think it made the Rotary and Kiwanis, Seroptimus, and who am I forgetting? I think it was just the Morning Club. I think it was those four. Anyway, it just made me think of going down to the Willamette. The other thing I was thinking about is the first Friday, the art walks, and just having more. I think when people see certain types of things happening, it kind of creates a culture of like, oh, this is what we do here. And it makes other people think, oh, I want to do this, or I want to do this. And I've heard a lot of people talking about how great it could be if something happened, but I also know there's a lot of details and implementation and organization that is a lot easier said than done, of coordinating musicians or having, other food cards come out or that kind of thing.
And that's a downtown coalition event.
Yeah.
And they actually, they're talking about how do they expand that event, and how do they get resources to expand the event? Because unfortunately, most of that costs money. So we're always looking for, and I'm always looking for them, grant opportunities that could potentially help them fund some of those things. Cause there are, certain tourism grants and so forth like that come through. That's like, okay, hey, let's get you this money. I actually love getting money for other organizations. It sounds weird, I know, but, I am a strong believer that if we are all financially sound, we can do our best work. And then if we're all doing our best work, we are all helping and supporting each other and building that community that we're looking for.
Definitely. What excites you about the future of Taste Newberg?
You know what? I'm in my year and a half that I've been here, I've seen so much amazing community support where people are reaching across and helping each other do things. And I feel like we're finally kind of getting out of where we're stopping to say, is this still COVID? Are we done? Can we move on? Which is a beautiful thing. But I think there's a lot of growth. I mean, downtown, with a lot of the changes that the city has made, I think we're going to see a lot more businesses come in. The restaurants, I love, they're looking at some things with ODOT and walkability of the town. I love that the Cultural Center is building a 225 seat theater. I mean, I'm sorry, but that is amazing.
I'm not sorry. It's great.
I'm just like, yeah, it is amazing. And it's not, it's going to help. It's going to be a draw for us here, but just actually in Yam Hill, I'm just excited about it. One of the things we also work on is, actually partnering with other communities because none of us are really that big. Even McMinnville's not that big, and we all need each other. And so and when you don't live here, when you come to visit, you're going to visit the whole area. Yeah. So we really work on trying to communicate with all of our sister cities in terms of Dundee and Dayton and Carleton, and make sure we all kind of know what's going on. When are we having events? What event can I help you with? What can you help me with? Carleton doesn't really have lodging. They need us. Yeah. Come stay here. Go there. Yeah. Dayton's just getting lodging. So there's a lot of things that we actually need to lean on each other for. And we are better if we lean on each other. Yeah.
I like that. I think that's, again, the spirit of this community and the spirit of this podcast, why I call it the Giving Town, is there's that level of collaboration and giving. And on the front end, it might seem that it's completely altruistic. But I think we realize when we help each other out like that, the rising tide raises all ships. And well, thanks for sharing about all of that. Is there any specific, whether information or just something you think people should know about when it comes to Taste Newberg?
I would say, like people always go, I would say if you know of an event and that you want to make sure it gets out there, email me, send it to me. There's a form on the website that you can, or you can email me, director@tastenewberg.com. let me know what the event is that's coming up, and so that I can get it into what we call Otis, which is a system that goes through Travel Oregon, which makes the event go to our website and also to Travel Oregon's website. So it puts the name out there. If you don't realize that, or if there's something new, maybe there's a new restaurant or a new place. I wish I could be everywhere for everybody, but I can't. So tell me about it. Or if you have something new, reach out and let me know what it is, or you have something that you think, did you know we do this?
Yeah.
Let me know.
Yeah. Have you talked much to Brandon at Newsberg?
I met him. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I think he does an amazing job of the local and getting the events and talking to what the local people do. I love that he does that because it's easier for me to be able to, I'm more that like he's local and you think of me, I'm like the bullhorn. So I'm like yelling all that stuff outside the community.
Yeah.
Like he's yelling at, for lack of a better word, but informing the community. And I get to take some of that wonderful stuff that he does, and I get to tell everybody everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. He's done a lot of great things, but it just made me think of that he's a great source of events and kind of collaborating. I think he even pulls from Taste Newberg, doesn't he?
He pulls from a lot of them. Yeah. I mean, all the different websites and so forth. And that's a full-time job. Honestly. I mean, if I had a dream, I would get another intern or part-time person that could honestly just work on gathering all the events and making sure that we had, because it's a full-time job.
Yeah. No.
It's on the couch at night sometimes putting the events in job.
Yeah. I used to do what he was doing for my event videos, and I said, Brandon, can I just use yours and just give you a highlight? He's like, yeah, sure. Go for it. It makes a lot of difference. Well, last question, given your time in Newberg and all the people you've gotten to get to know and experience, what gives you hope for the future of Newberg?
I think it is the people. I think, what I've seen is that there are a lot of residents that have lived here a long time, and they truly love this community, and they truly want to see this community thrive. And they're very much willing to reach out their hand and help. And whether that's in serving on a committee for the city to help, change some things that need to be changed, or it's, serving at one of the unhoused shelters so they can help somebody get on their feet. This community has huge heart. And I think that's the most important thing. And it's important for visitors. Visitors love to come to places that people love to live. If you don't like to live there and everybody's just cranky, would you want to go visit that place?
It's an interesting point. Can you say that again?
If you go to a city and everybody's cranky about it, and nobody's nice, do you really want to go visit there?
Yeah.
You want to go visit a place where, again, you walk into the coffee shop and people are chatting and talking and giving a hug. It's warm and cozy and welcoming. We are a very welcoming community with a lot of wonderful heart. We're also really busy people. So sometimes we're running around crazy, but we do the best we can to support each other. And that's one of the things I've really enjoyed getting to know about Newberg, even all the groups that get together and do things like, they help the Downtown Coalition on their work days. They go to Rogers Landing and clean up. They help, inspire or do something at Memorial Park, or they all put an event on. There's so many people that are always reaching over the aisle, and that's what we need. That's what we want to be known for.
Yeah. Yeah. I never thought about that. People love to visit places that people love to live. I like that.
Think about it. Doesn't that where you like to visit?
Yeah, it does make sense. I'm thinking of Hawaii right now. Maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, that's a great, that's a great point. Well, thank you, Leigh, so much for your time today and for sharing about Taste Newberg. Look forward to sharing this message with more of our community.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to the Givingtown podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with a friend who you think might benefit from hearing it. While more and more people are continuing to hear about this podcast, I still need your help to spread the message about all the people and organizations that make Newberg so great. Well, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next episode.